Balance Living with Dr. Marissa.
Promise you joy in the mystery.
Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, laugh, love, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And welcome. You're tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, NBC News, CNBC News, and NBC Sports Radio Station, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, TuneIn, Audible, Amazon Music, Tiki Live, Rumble, Podchaser, Spreaker, and more. Why so many places? Because I want to maximize my splatter zone for more hope and happiness. So there's no gossip on the show, no scandal, and no K words. Instead, no Kanye talk, formerly or now. Instead, I want you to focus on your own reality show and how you can be happy 88% of the time. So I have topics and guests for everywhere from Olympians to classic TV and movie stars. Dee Wallace, the number one most film and TV credits right now living, is a friend of mine, Dee Wallace. She'll be coming on soon to, I think, 3 or 4 times on the show. She's just absolutely wonderful. You can catch her past shows on my free subscribe YouTube channel, which Troy Pacelli is here this morning, live in studio. He's always a wonderful support to this show, and he has his own show on Friday nights that you'll have to check out called Last Call with Troy Pacelli. And today I have a very, 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 very special show for you. I got to go to Las Vegas, or Las Wages, to cover a fabulous event for the United Natives. And while I was there, I had already booked and knew that Harlon had offered up the wonderful comedian, Rich Little, who that kind of gives away my hashtag agelessness, but I'm sure even if you're younger, you may have heard or seen him. He's performing at the Laugh Factory in Tropicana right now, where Tiffany Haddish is, and a bunch of other amazing comedians. He is definitely an icon, and I got to go to his home and interview him and take a little tour that you saw on my social media yesterday, just what's on his walls and the kind of people that he's been able to not only work with and impersonate, John Wayne, Johnny Carson, Dean Martin. He was one of the favorites for the roasts, and if you get a chance to watch any of that, it really is pure comedy of the pure kind. And I was just delighted to be able to spend some time with him there, and then got VIP treatment in his show at the Tropicana. Make sure you cover, or you don't have to cover. You can just go and just tell them that Dr. Marissa sent you, and they'll treat you really well, because he's 84 and still sharp and funnier than funny. And I'm bringing you the interview with him today. And so I'm going to do an abbreviated, because I want to make sure we have enough time. I'm just going to do one gratitude and one appreciation. You all know the drill. Take a bite of my gratitude sandwich, exercise your ability to balance out all the bad news out there with some good news, and start your day in the most positive way. So I am grateful that I got a chance to go to his home, Rich Little's home, and interview him. And I appreciate that I love my life. I definitely take time to smell the roses and the fertilizer, and I appreciate myself in that way. Troy Pacelli is thankful for today's spotlight. Rich Little was ubiquitous, throughout my childhood, and I have no doubt he had a huge impact on my personality and sense of humor. Yay! And as such, I'm appreciative of your sense of humor. Thank you. That was like a perfect rounding. And I'm just going to go ahead and now bring you Rich Little from his home. See if I can do this. That's not the one I wanted. I don't think. Oh, I know why. Here we go.
And I am so delighted today to be interviewing an iconic impressionist, comedian, and someone who made me laugh my assets off when I was young. Please welcome to my studio, Mr. Rich Little.
Thank you. I'm still alive.
Yes, you are still alive.
Well, a few people said, Rich, we saw you die at the Tropicana, but that doesn't count.
No, it doesn't. You are still performing
Yeah,
at the Tropicana.
right.
I get to see the show tonight. I was trying to
Yeah.
get there Monday, but the rain was so wonderful from LA. It took me from 12:30 to
Yeah.
6:30 to get here. So I
It
couldn't
sure
get to
did
your show,
rain.
but I'm coming tonight.
Oh, that's great. That's
and I'm
great.
excited
they're
about that.
gonna blow up the Tropicana.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Did
in
you
a
ask
couple
them
of months? I hope I'm not on stage at the time,
I hope
but
not.
no, it's going to be demolished after all these years.
Wow.
And I've been there now nearly 9 years.
That's amazing. Because
Yeah.
am I allowed to say how old or young you are?
And doggy years?
We can do doggy years.
Okay, I'm about 12 in doggy years.
12 and doggy years. Well, you're an octogenarian that I know of, and you must use oil of Olay because you don't look like your age. And I just found out we were born in the same country, Canada.
Yes.
It-
Canada. Yeah, I left there in 1964
Wow.
to do the Judy Garland show.
Wow.
Yeah, that started my career in the US.
And what are your memories of Judy Garland?
I like Judy Garland. I didn't see her at rehearsals because she never came.
Oh.
Which was to my benefit, really, because when we filmed my bit that I was going to do on the show, she saw it for the first time because she never saw it at rehearsals because she wasn't there.
Mm.
And so her reaction was quite genuine and was really incredible. And when you look at it today, you're looking at her, not at me, because she's just, I mean, she was the greatest audience for what I did. I did all the voices. And of course, I think she knew everybody I impersonated. So
Oh.
she came unglued. And that started my career, really. After the Judy Garland show, I went on to do a lot of variety shows, but that was the start.
Yeah. And you've been guest host on the Tonight Show.
Yeah.
All of those
32
things.
times.
32 times.
Yeah.
Well,
I hosted it 32 times. I don't know how many times I was on it.
probably a lot more.
A lot more, but I hosted it for a number of years
Mm.
when Johnny was off. And that was a lot of pressure for me, doing the Tonight Show, because everybody watched it, in
Mhm.
those days. And I would say the Tonight Show and the Dean Martin roast were two of the most terrifying shows to do because you knew everybody was watching. And of course, on the roasts, you had so many great performers sitting on the dais, and that kind of shook you up too, to look down and see Jack Benny and George Burns and John Wayne and Ronald Reagan. I mean, Orson Welles. And I mean, a lot of people couldn't handle it, because of the celebrities that were there, but I somehow managed to get through it.
Mhm. And do you feel like it's almost like a different lifetime ago because you're mentioning names that are, huge and such memorable people who are no longer
That's right.
on this side.
That's right.
What are your memories or thoughts or,
Well, I think they hired me at the Tropicana because I brought in an older crowd.
mm,
And there wasn't any entertainment for an older audience, because the Laugh Factory is for younger people, and it can be quite blue, and the comics today do observational humor. They don't tell jokes or anything, but they observational humor, and the F word is used a lot.
mhm.
And my audience is older, of course, and so they remember all the people I do. You know, if you're over 50, I guess you remember Dean Martin and John Wayne and Jimmy Stewart.
Well, I'm ageless, so I can't admit anything.
But sometimes we get a young person in the audience who's laughing their head off and they don't know who I'm doing.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, they're laughing at the humor, you know?
Right, right.
Yeah,
right.
yeah. I had a kid in, well, last year, and I still remember it, sat in the front row and he was laughing his head off. He was about 15. And then the show was over. I called him over and I said, God, you seem to enjoy my show. He said, Mr. Little, you were really funny, but I was confused. I said, what were you confused about? He said, I just kept wondering why you kept changing your voice.
I guess impressionism is not part of the education of a 15-year-old yet.
No.
Right, right. Did you do Johnny Carson when you were guest hosting for him?
Johnny Carson? Yeah, I did Johnny Carson. I'm still doing Johnny Carson today. And the last time I saw Johnny Carson was in Malibu, about a year before he passed away. And he came up to me at my table and said, Rich, are you still doing me in your act? I said, yeah, of course, John, but I'm not on television. I said, that doesn't matter. People will remember you for a long time. Isn't that interesting? He said that. And here we are like 50, 60 years later, and I'm still doing them, you know?
Mm-hmm. And I think it's almost a nostalgic, warm homecoming for that crowd that's, remembering the older days.
Yeah.
When things were a lot different.
Well, I take them down memory lane, really.
Mhm.
I mean, I do all the old stars, and I do a couple of living people. I'm not really, my act is not totally deceased, although at times.
Dead people talking, right?
Yeah, dead people talking, yeah.
Who do you do that is alive now?
Dr. Phil, I do him, and I do. I'm trying to think of who I do that's still alive. Well, Sylvester Stallone and Jack Nicholson, I do, and Clint Eastwood. So there's a few people that are still alive.
Have any of them ever reached out to you and said, "You do me better than I do"?
Oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah. Ronald Reagan said that to me once. He said, Rich, I think you do me better than I do. And I said, really? Yes. In fact, you do me so good that I think when I pass away, I think they should bury you. And when he did pass away, I thought about that.
I bet.
Well,
I don't think his
that's why I
family
didn't
would
go to.
really-
That's why I didn't go to the funeral. No, yeah.
So, have you always been funny? Like, did
No.
this develop or?
I never intended to be a comedian, really. I did impressions, and that was what I thought it involved, just doing an impression of somebody that's famous. But I had to suddenly do something funny with them and say something funny.
Mm.
And in doing that, I had to become a comedian, which I never counted on. But, it's not the impression alone, it's what you say,
Mhm. Mhm.
And so I have a lot of jokes and bits that I've done down through the years, and I have hundreds of them. And I just, if I need something new, I just go to my joke book and pull out something new and or something old and put it in the act.
Mhm.
So you never throw anything away, really.
Good thing for you, because this career has spanned
Well,
60,
it spanned.
70, no, 60. When did you start? How old were you?
I was about, well, let's see, when I went on the Judy Garland show, I was in my late 20s, I think.
Late 20s. All right.
Yeah.
And you grew up in Canada were your parents in the industry?
No.
Nope.
No, my father was a doctor.
No.
He was a neurologist, my father was. And I knew from a very early age my dad was a neurologist because he was always telling me to piss off. But that's a terrible joke. But he was a good doctor, though. My mother was a housewife. She didn't really do much except Well, she did a lot, actually. She kept the house going and cooked all the meals and everything. And they both were wonderful people. I didn't have a problem growing up with my parents at all. They were just wonderful, and stayed together until my father died in the 60s.
Mm, mm. So when you said to them, I'm going to be an impressionist or I want to go into the entertainment field, their response was,
Richard, I understand that you're going into show business. That's right, Mother. Well, let me give you a little piece of advice. Be your own person. Don't rely on others. I said, wait a minute, Mom, that's what I'm doing. I'm doing other people. No, be yourself. So I'm glad I never listened to my mother.
yes, it wouldn't have worked. And it's interesting, I get to interview quite a few people in the biz.
Mhm.
Kevin Costner
Yeah.
shared that his father, when he said, I want to be an actor, his father said, it's a difficult industry. And then, after The Bodyguard came out, his dad's like, oh, okay, good. And then he said, I want to be a director. And he's like, you're a good actor, stay there. And,
Yeah.
and then he did well in director, and now he's doing music.
It's
So
a lot tougher to be a director, really,
Mhm.
because you have to get on the set early and you have to know the script. And I mean, it's a lot different than just being an actor, But some people are good at doing both. But it must be hard, for somebody like Clint Eastwood to set up the shot and realize you're going to be in it. You're not going to be behind the camera. And so how do you know how well you did?
Mm.
You'd have to rely on the cameraman, I guess. Huh?
Mhm.
Tough job.
Absolutely.
Tough job.
Yeah.
There are few people that really do it well,
Mhm. Mhm. Ron Howard.
Ron
is
Howard, yeah.
One of them, definitely.
Yeah, he was on my variety show. Ron Howard was back in the 70s when he had hair, But very nice kid. Well, he's not a kid anymore, of course, but what a genius he is, though.
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
God.
I haven't been able or gotten a chance to interview him, but all his cast from Happy Days, Marion Ross
Yeah,
is a beautiful woman. And
yes, she is. Yeah.
her son is an impressionist. Have you met
Huh?
Ken Meskimen?
No,
Oh,
I
he's
haven't.
he's the impressionist.
Well, Andy Griffith, when I did my show, my variety show, I thought he was the best actor I ever had on the show.
Mm,
Boy, Andy Griffith was fabulous.
mm.
Knew all his lines. His timing was incredible. And we had a lot of great people on that show, but Andy Griffith stands out for me.
That's great. Who's your favorite person to do an impersonation of?
Well, I have to say Ronald Reagan. But there are a number of them that I love to do, Johnny Carson and Jimmy Stewart, all the old actors from the 40s and 50s.
Mhm.
And it's tougher to do an actor today because they don't really have distinctive voices
Mm,
like they used to,
mhm,
So many actors play different parts,
mhm.
Like Tom Hanks will play Forrest Gump, and then he will be in he will be in a
Captain.
war picture or
Right.
something,
Mhm,
and so he's very versatile.
mhm.
So you can't pin him down with an impression. Most people do with Forrest Gump, but he's got a tremendous range,
Mhm.
and the English actors have a tremendous range. I was always impressed with the English actors because they looked at the part, how good it was, and it didn't have to be a leading role. It could be just a simple walk on or a couple of lines, but they weren't worried about billing and all that. They just wanted to act in movies.
Mhm. Have you ever done Richard Dreyfuss? I got to do a
No,
soundbite with him.
no, he came to see the show
Oh, he
though.
did? Oh,
Yeah, and he was
good.
great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's very well. It's funny because when I first met you and you did Richard Nixon on the carpet and you did this, and I'm like, wait, do you know who I am? Because I'm known for flashing peace. And I said, you know that? No, and then go ahead, do your Richard Nixon.
Richard Nixon, my fellow Americans, you know, after looking at Joe Biden, my God, I'm starting to look pretty damn good.
Oh, we're going there. Let's not go there. But
I do Joe Biden, but I'm not going to do him for you here because there's still maybe one or two liberals out there. You know,
oh.
we wouldn't want to offend those three people. You know,
Oh boy, oh
I'm a
boy.
big Trump supporter. You know, and if suddenly you dislike me, that's okay. I don't care. I think Trump, whether you like Trump or not, you can criticize him because he's full of himself. We know that, but he did an awful lot for this country.
Mhm.
And that's what you got to think about. Forget about the personality and think what he did for immigration and, and no wars when he was president. And I mean, I think he's great. I really do. But some people will really disagree with me.
No comment.
Okay, no, it's better.
No,
It's actually better to not say, what party you support
Yes.
because you're offending, I guess, a certain number of people. Like Johnny Carson, you never knew who he was for,
Mhm.
you know.
Mhm.
So it's probably better not to. But with the state this country's in right now, I don't care.
And there you have it. If you've just tuned in and wondering what's going on in the studio today, you are tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, NBC News Radio, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, TuneIn, Audible, Amazon Music, Tiki Live, the Rumble, Podchaser, Speaker everywhere. Why? Because I want to maximize my splatter zone for more hope and happiness. And today, so delighted to have in studio, I'm actually reporting live in Las Vegas. Rich Little kindly invited me to his home where we are filming right now, and I'll be bringing this show to you very soon. He is the man of 1,000 voices. Any of you who grew up with Jimmy Stewart and Richard Nixon and all of them, Johnny Carson, will absolutely remember Rich Little. And if you don't, it's okay. He's funny.
Oh, you did that well. You did that well. Would you repeat that?
I could, but I don't want to.
No.
But I'll take the compliment.
No, you
Thank
did that
you.
well. I'm telling you, no cue cards or anything.
That's right. Well, this is show number,
Yeah.
I just passed show number 1,102. So
Yeah.
I've been on 617 consecutive weeks. And they call me the Asian Oprah. I don't know if you know that.
the Asian Oprah.
I was introduced to Oprah as the
Okay.
Asian Oprah. Do you do Oprah?
No, I don't. No, I do very few women at my age.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to ask, but yeah, I figured that.
I do a few though. I do Catherine Hepburn, Norman, you old poop. I do Dr. Ruth Westenra. She talk like that. Sex is a lot like air. It's not important unless you don't get any.
I interviewed her in New York,
Did you?
actually.
Isn't it amazing? She's still with us, isn't
She's
she?
still with us, and she's a whippersnapper.
I remember once I was at a party and Dr. Ruth was there and I wanted to meet her and I looked all around. I couldn't find her. Finally, she was right below me, pulling on my
How
pants.
did I know
I
that was
looked down and there she was. I thought she was a munchkin. I really did,
She is short.
Oh, she's very short.
Short.
Well, great, because I'm little,
Oh man,
Mm.
you're definitely in the prime here. Are you getting ready for your show tonight? Is
Yeah,
what you're doing?
well, they keep coming and it's funny. The audiences are interesting because they're all different.
Mhm.
And some nights I gotta go out there and there's like 30 people, and another night I'll go out there and there's 60 people. And yet you can't predict it, You
Mhm.
just can't. Sometimes people don't show up. They pay a lot of money for tickets and they don't show up,
Mhm.
Maybe they're gambling and they're winning. I don't know.
Or Lucy.
Maybe they can't find the showroom, that's a problem at the Trop. Nobody knows where it is,
Oh, well, I'll make sure I get that.
Yeah, I hope they don't come when they blow it up. I hope that they still don't come.
Yeah, that would be bad. I
Yeah,
hope you're not in there.
Be hard to seat them,
So, who would you say you haven't met in this lifetime that you want to meet?
I would really like to meet, that's may surprise you, but Eva Marie Saint.
Hmm.
I think she's terrific with a great career. She's now, I think, 100 years old.
Wow.
But I would love to meet her. You know, I thought when she was
Hmm.
younger, she was not only gorgeous, but talented, you know.
Hmm.
And that's just somebody I would like to spend a few minutes with. And she's worked with all the greats. So I would have a ball doing my James Mason and my Cary Grant. Yes. Anyway, there's a lot of people that I wish I'd met. You know, I was reading a book the other day on Roger Moore
Hmm.
and James Bond, and
Mhm.
he sounded like a very interesting, nice person. You know, and I thought to myself, God, I wish I'd met him.
Mhm.
So there's just a lot of people I never got a chance to meet. You know,
Right.
but I have met a lot of biggies.
I
you
was
know.
going to say,
Oh, yeah.
I think you probably more than the average person have met a plethora of.
Well, when you do the roasts, the
Mhm.
Dean Martin roasts, you meet a lot of great comics because they were all there, and actors too. And when you do, you know, the Tonight Show, you meet a lot of, well, Hollywood Squares, you meet a lot of
Oh, you.
celebrities.
That's right. You were on Hollywood Squares
That's
a
right.
lot.
With Paul Lynn. Oh, God. I love Paul Lynn. He was great, wasn't he?
Yes. Yeah. That was not a voice that you could you knew who that was as soon as you said that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had a great voice, Paul
Yeah.
Lynn. Yeah.
I've had Fran Drescher on my show a couple times.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I did her show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Very nice lady. Very nice lady.
have you tried her?
To imitate her?
Yeah.
No.
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 'Cause-
The only women that I can do really are people that are larger than life, you know,
Mm.
like Carol Channing.
Oh, I
you
met
know.
her.
Carol Channing. You
Beautiful.
know, Carol had poor eyesight. And so when you met her, she would look at you like she didn't know who you were. And then when she got about a foot away, she suddenly went, "Oh, it's you." You know, I remember one time we were working together at the Desert Inn, and she said, "Rich, let's go over across the street when the show's over and see Tony Bennett." I said, "Fine, fine, Carol." So when the show was over, we walked across the street over to Caesars, and we were walking through the lobby, and a guy came up to her and said, "Oh my God, Carol Channing, right? Oh, what a terrific impression. You look exactly like her." Well, you know, God, it's incredible. I don't know who did your makeup, but you look like her a lot. And who are you? And she said, "I'm a truck driver from Toledo, and I'm just going to see Tony Bennett." Isn't that funny?
That is
So he thought that she was somebody made up to be Carol Channing.
that is hilarious.
Yeah.
Did you ever get to meet Jerry Lewis?
Yeah, I met Jerry Lewis, but he was difficult.
He was.
Well, you know, I think he was talented, but you know, I kind of agree with Dean Martin. He could be a bit of a problem, you know, because he was a perfectionist, you know, and Dean wasn't. Dean wanted to do it and go play golf, you know.
Mhm.
But Jerry, you know, and he took a lot of money on from the muscular dystrophy. Too much, you know. So
I'm
I don't
sorry
know.
to hear
He's not
that.
one of my all-time favorites, but
Yeah.
you can't be picky.
So, who were your role models? Like when you were coming up?
Well, you mean comedians or just people I admired?
Both. I think it's interesting.
Well, I liked Gregory Peck.
Mhm.
I got to know Gregory Peck, and he didn't have much of a sense of humor, but probably one of the great actors, I think, of all time.
Mm.
And I liked, of course, Jimmy Stewart. You know, God, Jimmy was wonderful. And he was a very shy man, you know. If you saw him at some function, he'd be sitting in the corner by himself, and then his wife, Gloria, would be working the room.
Hmm.
You know, and she'd be going around talking to everybody, and Jimmy just be sitting in the corner. So you go over to him, sit down next to him, and you know, try and get him to talk. But he was kind of shy, actually.
Interesting.
So I loved him, and I loved, as far as actors are concerned, I like Christopher Plummer. Oh my God!
Oh.
And he, you know, he worked in Canada. I think he is a Canadian. or
I
was.
think so. Yeah.
And I wish the heck I'd met him,
Mm,
but you can't meet everybody, but
that's true.
you think later, oh my God, I wish the heck I'd ever met that person.
Yeah, yeah. Now let's I didn't ask if there was anything I couldn't ask you, so I'm gonna ask and then you can tell me to,
How many
to
times,
bugger off.
how many times have you been married? Is that what you want to ask?
I wasn't gonna ask that particular question, but how many times have you
I've
been in
been
love?
married 4 times.
4 times.
And at
Okay.
the last wedding, they threw minute rice. I was not a great husband, I guess. I don't know.
Well,
You can't blame one person for a failed marriage,
no,
you know.
and I don't think there's anything such as.
So there are things I didn't do right.
Mhm.
I realize now, but the greatest love of my life was my third wife,
Mm.
and she was a doll, Marie. But unfortunately, she took her own life. She had headaches that were unbearable, and we couldn't solve it. And
Oh, I'm
that
sorry.
was the saddest time of my life.
I'm so sorry
Oh
about
my
that.
God, that was horrendous. And she
Yeah.
took her life, and she drowned herself in the bathtub, and I found her there. And
Ugh,
oh
I'm
my
so
God, when I
sorry.
think back on that, I just
Mm.
get so teary-eyed.
I'm
But anyway,
sorry.
life actually is ups and downs, isn't it?
Mhm,
The good and the bad,
mhm.
and you got to roll with it.
Yes. Yeah, and you have kids. You have two.
Yeah, I have 2 daughters.
Two daughters. I
Yeah.
do too.
Yeah,
Mhm. Girls are good.
one of them lives here in Vegas, and very quiet, very sweet lady. And the other one is she's a riding instructor in Malibu.
Oh,
Loves horses and a lot of personality, and we get along great.
oh,
I get along with both of them, actually.
that's great. That's great.
Yeah.
What do you want to be remembered for or as? Like Rich Little blank.
Well, I was
Besides
just thinking maybe when I pass away on the tombstone, they should put all my voices. Here lies Jimmy Stewart, John Wayne, George Burns, Jack Benny. Wouldn't that be funny?
That would be
People
funny,
go
but
up and
that
say,
you're
God, are all these people lying here? Good Lord,
they'd have to fold the stone though. There's no way they could put
Well,
all those
we
names
have to
on
get a
there.
double stone because, I do about 50 voices.
More than 50.
No,
Yes.
yeah, but there's a few people I do that aren't famous. I could do my mother. I just did her a few minutes ago.
Mhm.
I didn't do my father, but I could do neighbors and relatives and people like that. And, but I don't do them in my show.
Well, that's interesting because where did the man with of 1,000 voices come from?
Well, the man of 1,000 voices is something somebody dreamed up because of Long Chaney, remember, in movies in the 30s, and he took on various people with makeup and everything, and he was the man of 1,000 faces.
Oh,
Long Chaney was.
okay.
So, when you get an impersonator who does a lot of voices,
Oh,
they tag them the man of 1,000 voices. But it's ridiculous. There's nobody living who can do 1,000 voices.
well, you
yeah.
got credited with
Rich
something.
Little, man of 1,000 voices. Would you do them for us, Mr.
Yeah.
Little? Can you do 1,000 impressions? Yes, I can. I can do 1,000 impressions in a ball game.
Very good.
Hmm,
That's very good.
pretty bad.
Pretty bad. Bad, but good.
Well,
Yeah. So not 1,000 voices. So what do you want to be remembered?
that I brought a little joy into people's lives,
Mhm.
and they
And you
could
did.
forget their troubles and
And
laugh
do.
for about an hour. And
Mhm.
that's what Cary Grant said to me one day. "Oh, Rich, what you do, you make people forget themselves, all their problems." And it was very nice of him to say that. But I guess it's true. People come up to me and say, "We had a wonderful evening," and
Well, laughter
you're
is the
very
best
funny,
medicine. Mhm.
and I'm glad you keep your show pretty clean,
Mhm.
which I do.
That's great.
Well, not entirely, but pretty much.
Mhm.
But see, the young comics today use the F word all the time.
Yes.
And,
I hate
as
that.
I said earlier, they use observational humor, things that have happened to them in life. And there are some comics who just go out on stage with nothing in their head at all, think they can ad lib for an hour. but it doesn't work that way.
No.
You know, even Don Rickles didn't ad lib. He knew where he was going.
Mm.
You know,
He had a course.
he could ad lib great, but
Mhm.
he when he walked out on stage, he pretty well knew what he was going to do.
Yeah.
There's nobody really that can just walk out there and do a comedy routine with nothing in their head.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But some of them do.
Right. Right. What advice do you have for anyone who wants to go into business, do what you're doing? Kind of if you had met yourself when you were young, what would you have advised yourself?
Well, if you have a certain amount of talent, you know, don't rely on your relatives because they will lie. But if you have a talent for doing whatever it is, you got to get a manager.
Mm,
You got to get somebody that can promote you because you can't do it yourself.
mm,
And you get somebody that has a little power in the business, maybe has other acts that are famous, and then they can bring you along with them. But you have to get a manager and or an agent.
mhm,
An agent's great too. They're not the same. The manager is more personal,
mhm,
and the agent is one that books the shows for you.
mhm,
But I would just say, whatever you do, whether you're an actor or a comedian, just keep working at it, and don't get discouraged, and try and meet the right people.
mhm, mhm. I hear all the time about rejection and
Oh, there's a lot of rejection.
yeah. How do you deal with that? Like what do you do? I mean,
Well, the best thing you can do is just, you're disappointed and you're crushed at the moment, but by the next day, you got to forget about it totally and just keep going. Don't get discouraged,
mhm, mhm,
because there's many, many great actors that at the beginning of their careers, they were not very good and they couldn't get a job. And it was amazing, isn't it? And then later on with experience, they became terrific.
mhm,
But there's a lot of actors that started out that weren't that talented.
mhm.
I mean, John Wayne, when he was very young, when he was the singing cowboy, he wasn't very good. I mean, but,
Okay, I didn't hear that part of it, but
oh, I'm the singing cowboy. I don't think I've ever heard John Wayne sing. Well, he did sing in some of those early movies, but they're coming to get me. They're coming to get me. I'm gonna shoot them all dead. I don't know.
you have any other inside stories that we don't know about certain people that you can share?
Oh yeah,
Yeah. Okay, good.
but I'm not gonna share.
But you're not gonna. Well, that's good because my show's not.
There's a few
supposed to be
people I'm not crazy about, but it's better to say nothing really. But
True. True.
well,
He's debating. Yeah, we're teetering here.
but sometimes you can be wrong.
Mhm.
You can say, "Oh, that person was terrible, and I didn't get along with them at all." Oh my God! And then you'll run into somebody else that they're the greatest. So,
Absolutely.
it depends, I guess. You could meet somebody when they're just in a bad mood,
Mhm,
or maybe somebody passed away in the morning, or
mhm.
what, it's
That's a
just,
good
and
point.
then the next time you meet them, they're entirely different. So,
That is true. The quandary of show business and the I want attention and I want to be famous, and then you get the attention, you're famous, and it's like, leave me alone, don't bother me. Speak to that for a bit.
well, yeah, I mean, there's many people. I mean, if Marilyn Monroe hadn't become a big star, she probably would have lived to 80 years old.
Mhm, mhm,
Some people can't handle fame. And it's amazing that Frank Sinatra lasted as long as he did, because he drank. Oh my God. And but he could be a very, very warm, nice person, Frank
mhm,
Sinatra. And the other side of him isn't too pleasant, but
mhm,
he kept going, and I admire him for that.
mhm.
He was a good guy, bad guy.
So that's sort of lends it to the mental health aspect.
Yeah.
What is your take and advice with respect to show business and mental health? Because I mean, it seems like at least once a week, someone who has reached that point of fame takes their life. And it's like,
Yeah.
it's is it because actors are sensitive, expressive, and then prone to depression? Or is it because they don't know how to handle the fame? You're in it.
Yeah, I think what you just said is true.
Mm,
Yeah, they can't handle it.
mhm.
Like Robin Williams, he just,
Yeah, that was the saddest.
he was so brilliant
Yes.
that his brain couldn't handle it,
Mm,
you know?
mhm.
And some people destroy themselves. And it's amazing because you think to yourself, they have everything.
Right.
They have
right.
fame, they have money, they
Right.
have a great wife, great
Mhm.
friends,
Mhm,
and they end it all,
mhm.
and it always surprises me, but it does happen.
You're right. It's understandable.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, not preferable, but yeah,
No.
yeah, interesting.
Well, I worked with Peter Duell on a situation comedy called Love on a Rooftop. And if you remember Peter Duell, he was with Judy Carn. They were the stars of the show. I was the next door neighbor. But Peter Duell, he took his life,
Mm,
just shot himself with a gun.
mhm.
And you could kind of see it coming because he got more strange as the series progressed.
Interesting.
And he was not quite normal. And but that was quite a blow.
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah.
Are you ever going to retire?
Well, sometimes when I walk upstairs, I think I should retire, you know. But
Oh.
I'd hate to be wheeled out on stage. Don Rickles was wheeled out on stage.
No.
Oh yeah, at the end, he came out in a wheelchair because his legs were gone.
Wow.
But he still was funny, But I don't think I wanted. How would I do Johnny Carson if I was sitting in a wheelchair?
Yeah. No.
No.
Yeah.
So long as I have my health.
How do you keep in shape? You are in very good shape.
Well, not really, but
You look
I-
like.
I use a bicycle every day. These
Okay.
stationary bicycle.
Mhm.
I
How
do
long?
about an hour on that.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not
I
a
would do 40.
summertime. I go swimming,
Okay.
and I do my Esther Williams and go make maybe 12 laps in the pool. I wouldn't go in now. Holy mackerel.
Yeah, it is a
A
little
little
cold.
chilly.
Yeah. Yeah. They.
But I like Vegas. It's a wonderful little city if they
Yeah.
ever
When
get it
did you move
finished.
here?
Hmm?
You moved here.
Moved here after I did the Judy Garland show.
Okay. Okay. So it's been a while. Not recently. I mean,
Oh,
you've
no.
been here a while.
Oh, yeah. I've
Yeah.
been here
Yeah.
a lot of years. Yeah.
Favorite place you've been to in the world?
And the world?
Mhm.
Well, I always liked Hawaii, until they burned it up. But I think it's coming back, isn't it?
Everything will come back.
Slowly.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah. I like to
Yeah.
go to Hawaii, but I guess there's parts of it that are still
Yeah.
just all burnt, huh?
Yeah.
Hmm. But when I did my one-nighters, when I
You
performed
had one night stands?
one night, well, not sexually, but
I could not resist.
no,
I'm sorry. I couldn't resist.
no, we won't talk about that. But
Oh man, I'm
Yeah.
gonna get in trouble for that.
yeah, so
Your assistant's laughing. But
I
you
can
didn't
a
expect that,
got
did you?
couple of replies, but I won't say them.
You can say them from stage tonight.
You're too much.
I know. They say that about me. But I do ask, we're wrapping up now, and I know you've been so kind with your time, but what are you most grateful to or for in this thing called life?
My health,
Mhm.
that's everything, isn't it? You haven't got your health, you got nothing.
Right.
Friendship,
Mhm.
enjoy
who
your
do you
work.
hang out with? Who
Well,
are your friends?
I don't hang out with many people, because most of my friends are passed away.
Mhm. Right.
And my act is deceased, I lost a lot of great friends like Robert Goulet and Howard Keel. All these were great friends of mine, but they're no longer with us. And
Mm.
It's, I sketch, I do
I
charcoal
didn't know
drawing,
that.
charcoal drawings. I've done
Wow.
hundreds and hundreds of them.
Huh.
Most of the people I impersonate, I've done sketches of.
Really?
Yeah. And I remember the other day, I put together a number of sketches I did on people that have passed away, close friends of mine. And I'm going to put them on the wall, gone but not forgotten, and that'll be sad to do that. But I've got about 12 pictures,
That's would you, because I know an art gallery that does have pieces from people who are known for other things, but I think that would be a great fundraising thing too,
Oh, yeah.
to do.
Oh, I sell them, my
Oh,
sketches.
you do sell them? Okay,
Oh,
good.
yeah, yeah.
Because Loretta Swift, who's also been on my show.
Yes, Loretta
she
Swift,
does
yes.
like that.
I
And,
like Loretta. Yeah,
yeah.
she's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's been really fun.
Thanks.
And thank you so much.
Well, you're welcome.
And
You're a delight to talk to. Sometimes I talk to somebody in their 20s and they have no idea who I am.
oh,
I did an interview with a girl that was about 20 the other day, and I talked for about 20 minutes, and then at the end of the interview, she said to me, "I don't know who you are, but it's been a pleasure."
I don't know if that's a compliment or not, but I won't say anything because I know her.
Well, I said,
But
my name is Little Richard.
and then you said, I know you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well-
Well, people get flustered when they meet you. They'll come up to you and say, "Do you know who you are?" And I had a couple come up to me the other day that was coming into the showroom, and they said, "We wanted to catch you before you died."
Oh no.
Or is this the same act you did in 1967?
Oh my gosh.
You
People
know,
are silly.
They say silly
Stupid.
things. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I was being nice there.
Yeah.
But if I can ask you to do one more thing,
Yeah.
this is something I asked you on the carpet and you're like, what are you doing? I do this at the end of the show because my BS, my belief system is that the world would be a better place if we all were more balanced,
Mhm.
right? So I do peace in, peace out, world peace through inner peace.
Mhm.
So if you wouldn't mind doing that with me, peace in, peace
That's
out.
half of Nixon.
That's how I know. Peace in,
If
peace
what?
out,
Peace,
peace in,
peace in, yes.
peace out,
Peace out.
world peace
World peace
through inner peace.
through inner peace.
Yeah.
Oh, how nice.
Thank you.
Great. Pleasure
It's
talking
been
to
a
you.
wonderful time. This is Dr.
you.
Marissa reporting live in Vegas in the beautiful home of Rich Little, iconic impressionist comedian. Go see him at the Tropicana anytime you're in Las Vegas.
If this was entertainment tonight,
Uh-huh.
this would be a great 3-minute bit.
Yes, it would be. Thank you so
Okay,
much.
thanks, Mary.
I hope you enjoyed that. Hold on. I need some major applause for that interview. He is as delightful as you just experienced him. And thank you, Troy. I'm glad that you caught the interview, Maria, as well. Welcome to Greg, a new listener, watcher, and complimented me as a speckled puppy. Definitely a first for that. Let's see. Do we have time? I just found, and I really should have. No, I'm not going to shit on myself, but there's some just great.
This is the emergency fire blanket.
When
The emergency fire blanket is a one-stop fire protection tool for
what
several
he's
types
done
of
in
fire.
the
When there's a
past,
small fire, pull the blanket out by its
Well, the one
tabs,
that I
cover the
use is on
Good man, Mr. Rich Little.
I have to look up the ones that he did on Dean Martin. Oh, all right. I could watch this all day, and we're going to let's see. There's a strange comment I just saw on the other chat line, but I just wanted to wrap up with appreciation for being able to get that interview. And I am, you know, I was saying to my sound engineer, Frank, in the back, that how lucky am I? How fortunate am I to, I mean, it's like literally a different lifetime ago of the golden age of Hollywood, I think, because of just the grace that you saw. I love when they flash to George Burns and they flash to Lucille Ball. They flash to, you know, Don Rickles, somebody mentioned in the chat. It's just, you know, if you want, laughter is the best medicine, and to really enjoy what you saw as it was like funny without, I don't know, there's a difference between their kind of roasting and funny than the bashing, personal, angry, you know, humor that seems to dominate these days. And so that's my takeaway is, can we laugh with people like we used to? Anyways, I'm out of time. Thank you so much for joining me. Tomorrow is Wednesday, so it's Doctors in the House series with Dr. Tiffany Tate and I. Thanks for joining us every weekday morning. If you free subscribe on my YouTube channel, please feel free to do any positive kind of commenting and liking and all of that if you enjoyed today. This is Dr. Marissa reporting live because it's all about balance. Peace in, peace out, world peace through, inner peace. Now go and have the best day ever. We'll see you tomorrow.